Hey, good morning, everyone. Let's wait for a couple of minutes for everyone to join. Thanks so much for joining in.
Good morning, good afternoon. We'll give a few minutes for folks to trickle in. Thank you for waiting. Present. Okay. To share my screen. Yep. You're able to see the screen?
Yes, Shrey.
Let's stop for a second. Okay, are you able to see it?
Yes, Shrey.
Is everyone else able to see it? Is James on?
Not yet.
I may have trouble getting on. Okay. Presentation mode. Okay. Yes, we're 6 minutes into it. Maybe we should get started. Not sure if James is having some technical difficulties. Zoho is not the friendliest one to comes to the conferences. Okay. Sudarshana, you might try to bring James to see if he can get on. Otherwise, I'll try to cover some of the materials and hopefully James can get on board.
Just give me a minute. I'll be back.
All right, I don't want everyone keep waiting, so we'll get on with it. I'm Sri Chintala, CTO, CEO, co-founder of Clocker and Crypto Legacy. We have our host, James Burns, who's going to present the topic, and I would be co-hosting on certain topics. Looks like he may have some challenges getting on. We were just on the call 15 minutes earlier, so hope everything is all right. So we'll get on with the topic, and we'll see if James can come join in. Again, just regarding the disclaimers, again, I'm not an attorney or practitioner, so I'm the technologist, and we built the solutions. But this is not about the solutioning. This is more about exposing the challenges, the topic related to digital assets, estate planning, and so on. So this is what everyone's digital assets looks like. This was James's favorite slide. So if we're not passwords, what is the financial accounts, what is regular accounts, where are the photos, where is information, and so on. So that gives us a thought on what is a digital asset. There is a pretty broad definition. If you ask people, what do you understand by a digital asset? Depending on their background, the answer may differ. Right? For some people, it may be a laptop. They think it's a laptop and phone, or physical assets or digital assets. For others, it may be different. So anything by definition, anything that has a life on internet or online form, that is an asset, is a digital asset. So if you categorize them into several buckets, the family photos, your online documents, your investments, mostly investments accounts, medical information, social media accounts, your crypto and NFT assets. In a very broad stroke, all these things would come under the digital asset categories. And again, as I mentioned, depending on the context of who's speaking, who's talking, and depending on the usage, the context and the definition might vary, and the applicability might vary. So broadly, if we put these into two major buckets, the assets may have financial value, the others may have a sentimental value. Obviously, the photos are the most sentimental value that we have. We capture them hundreds every year, and with the hope to view them some point, and that is the family asset that we want to cherish these things for many years to come. Right, all the online documents we use on a daily basis, and either it's be a personal documents or be a business documents and whatnot, that's an asset, and so on. Right, so there are that is all the sentimental value. You cannot exchange those for money. That is the definition. The financial value, where you have accounts or assets where there is money tied up in some form, especially the crypto assets, NFTs, the NFT tokens, any online trading accounts could be categorized into those. Your blogs, stories, artwork that can be transacted for some money, some value. Some may be in a sentimental value, but again, this is a broad definition on. It gives the idea here is to give you a pointer on the significance of too many categories that we often don't really think about into what exists, the mileage points, the cash apps, and so on. So what are the challenges with estate planning with the digital assets, right? So some of the statistics show that 80% of the heirs look for new advisors, especially if you talk about family offices, wealth managers, estate attorneys, or trustees, and so on, any business users. If their relationships are not managed to the generational wealth transfer, churn is pretty high, 80%, because the businesses need an engagement tool or a solution that they can constantly go back, and so that they can keep the relationship alive. Once the relationship alive, chance of renewal is much higher. And on the other hand, the crypto wealth is, even during the downturn, it's $1 trillion, 1/4, 1.5, depending on the day and time. But more or less, it is a pretty significant wealth. At high point, it was reached, I think, it passed 3 trillion. Out of this, an estimated 20% is lost already, lost in the oblivion, unable to track or reach, because the owners did not share the keys or did not have a plan to transfer those. So 200 billion probably money is gone. Uh, so that's the kind of a challenge. And what happens to the online accounts of our online accounts if something happens to us all of a sudden? What happens to those? Who owns those, and how can the family access them? And there are many issues that deal with it, and it poses a very different challenge for estate planning professionals, legacy planning professionals, and so on. And this is all new area for all of us to deal with, because especially with the COVID, the digitization has taken a tremendous acceleration in the last 2-3 years, and everything is online, including the Zoom calls, the office meetings, and so on. So all that generates a lot of digital footprint, digital breadcrumbs all along the way. So that leads to what are the biggest challenges for individuals, right? One, safekeeping in terms of making sure that your online accounts are unhackable. You have your passwords are strong. You have your malware, ransomware systems loaded on your system. And safekeeping, security of those, and access and all that is important. And then, are we doing enough steps to make sure that these assets are inheritable or can be passed on to the heirs or next generation for us? And then what is the issue with these accounts, right? The family, if something happens to the loved one, family, the questions that are come along is that, like, where's all this information? What are the accounts that they have? Which password? I mean, which email? Everyone has at least 3, 4, 5, or 10 emails, depending on what types of either an individual or a businesses. It can be more. What are the user IDs for which accounts that user IDs are used? And even if you have a password, can you log in? Are you violating any privacy laws? How do you reset the passwords? What is the mechanism to go? I mean, if someone has 1 million mileage points, can the family inherit them? There are some airlines allow, some don't. And if you have photos and access, and if you realize, if you followed the news a few years ago, Google's and Apple's, Facebook's fought tooth and nail in giving access to the family photos to their loved ones. I mean, there were cases that were fought in court for 4 or 5 years. Now they've had a legacy contact systems recently in the last year or two. So that's the change in the trend in those. So there are significant issues we as individuals need to deal with, and also as the professionals, what solutions, services we can offer to our customers. So there are two angles to it, right? Sudeshna, is James was able to get on, or?
Yes, finally.
Yes, yes.
Sorry. I'm going to backtrack a bit. I was just gave the introduction, so maybe you can pick up from here, James.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Sorry for my delay. We had a little technical difficulty in terms of getting into the right portal, but I'm here nonetheless and ready to assist in taking a look at this ongoing problem that maybe some of us want to solve for clients, family, friends, and we're going to try and outline that for you today. If we could move maybe to the next slide and get things underway.
Got it.
Yeah, Shri just started around like 5 minutes ago. Then I'll start with the introductions first, if that's okay.
Go ahead, Sudeshna. James, yeah, maybe you can give a quick intro, James.
Sure. I'll just start with that. Hi guys, I'm so sorry and apologies for the technical issues and the delay. So finally, welcome everyone to today's webinar on estate planning for digital assets. I'm glad you could join us today and learn more about this important topic. So my name is Sudeshna. I'm hosting today's webinar. So the reason why we are hosting this webinar is, of course, we think that it's a very essential topic. It should be discussed. But apart from that, it's because digital assets are becoming an increasingly important part of our lives. And it's crucial that we plan for them in our estate planning. And these assets can be valuable, sentimental, and even essential to our daily lives. So we have a fantastic panel of experts here today, including James Burns and Shri, where the James Burns is an estate and business transaction lawyer with a focus on business, estate, incapacity planning, real estate transactions, corporate transaction, and sales or mergers of businesses, as well as a former force recon marine and a bodyguard. We also have Sri Chintala. He's the Chief Technology Officer and co-founder of CryptoLegacy.ai, the sponsor of today's webinar. He is also a serial entrepreneur with 25 years plus of award-winning career. So Sri and James, over to you. Just a quick introduction from your side, then we can carry on with us with our presentation.
Thank you. Attorney James Burns here this morning to go over what is becoming a difficult landscape in terms of digital assets. It's the next generation of what people will have in terms of accumulating their wealth, as well as many other legacy mementos, if you will, are digital and non-tangible. The way I came about finding Shri is, a number of years ago in my estate planning practice, clients were coming to me with this ongoing problem. They go, "Hey, what do we do with all of our social media? Look, I've got stuff on iTunes. I got things on Spotify. How do I close these things out? Who do I leave in charge of that? How do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do it?" And that's when I kind of found Shri, who was working on a solution for that. What we want to do today is kind of outline the landscape of this ongoing, I don't know if I want to call it a difficulty or problem, but there is a solution to it nonetheless, and help everybody understand, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for family, or you're some type of an advisor, how you can best serve your clients by understanding this changing landscape and where it's going.
All right. Thanks, James. I'll keep it short. I jump right into the topic. I think Sudarshana did a good job in introducing myself, and we'll move on, James, so we can pick up from here on the topic.
Okay, thank you. Can we move to the next slide, please?
Oh, so they can only, so there is an issue with the slides. Can they not see it? Oh, you know what? Fiction image share. This is just going to share the whole window, so there's no issues there. Can you all see the
Yes.
slide? Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay. This diagram kind of illustrates, the non-crypto type assets. This is everything that's digital, and that again remains a very, very broad category. Everything from your social media, your email accounts, your phone, your gaming accounts, if you do that online Xbox, PlayStation, the music we listen to every day, the iTunes, the Spotify, etc. If we do not have any kind of instructions or directives, or don't leave anybody with legal authority over these types of affairs, when they try and engage in either closing out accounts or somehow accessing accounts, we may be leading them into a legal pitfall. In other words, it could be a crime accessing somebody's account without some type of legal authority. So we want to have some kind of directives left behind that gives a person and appoints them in this capacity. As it indicates here, sharing of a password, if you're not the original person that took up the terms of service with the provider, by that I mean that could be your email account, it could be one of the social media providers, you may be in violation of not only not only criminal laws, but also in violation of the terms of service. In the most practical sense, people are trying to utilize a will. Sometimes we have to use a power of attorney when a person's still here, yet they've lost their capacity. so that people can navigate and bring all of their digital asset tools and consolidate them and either shut them off or manage them on their behalf. And without that, leaving that type of legal authority in place, again, we leave those people either having to go through court to get it or possibly taking the shortcut, which may be violating certain laws and running into criminality. Next slide, please.
Yep.
So the big legal legislation, we like to call it the framework for our digital assets, is this thing called RUFADA. And that's a big word there. That's an acronym for the Revised Uniform Fiduciary Access to Digital Assets Act. Again, that one will take the wind out of you as you're pronouncing it. Congress kind of carved this out and came to a revised version of it roughly around 2015. So we're very, very young in terms of having something as a framework or some guidance on digital assets. I reside in California. So in the state of California, they didn't adopt something close to RUFADA until about 2017. It's referred to as AB 691. It's almost verbatim of RUFADA, but obviously California will put its own spin on it. And what that does is it gives guidance in the law on accessing digital assets, how a fiduciary can gain access to assisting a loved one who's passed away, yet leaving all of this digital assets in disarray. I think that's all I have to say on that one.
Okay, all right. So, do you want me to pick that up? Okay, I'll take this one on the. Now we covered the non-monetary or sentimental value accounts on the RUFADA side of it. Our reading on RUFADA, it really doesn't talk about the crypto assets or NFT assets. We try to interpret that. So in our view, I think these are still being yet to define. There's a lot of discussions going on regulation and what to do. Is it an asset? It's a property? It's an and what type? But leaving all that aside, someone who has crypto, right? You can broadly put these into three different buckets. One, the self-custody. That means that the owner has the keys to the wallet. They can spend the money. They can spend it anywhere. They can give it to someone. They can go buy something. They can stake it. They can do all that stuff. They can move anywhere. The second category is called custodial account. This is similar to your Fidelity account or Vanguard account, where a custodian he not owns the crypto. You own the asset, but custodian has the keys. You don't have a key. You will have a user ID and password just like any other online account you log into, like Delta account or any other account, and then you do the operations, buy crypto, sell crypto, do all those things. But you don't own the crypto in the sense you don't own the keys. The custodian account owns the keys. So that is what happened with FTX and Luna. A few others blew up. They controlled access to the crypto, and people cannot get their assets out in time, and hence there is a problem. So there is a big sentiment now that self-custody is gaining popularity, but now there are issues with how do you protect and pass on. The third category is the custody service. This is like a bank, right? There are a few custodians out there, not too many, that you give the keys to them. They would maintain it, manage it for you. You cannot do anything with it. It's safe and secure, but who wants to lock up their 100% of their crypto? Maybe a portion of it, you can leave it for inheritance down the road. They're not really a trustee kind of a deal. They're more like a bank. You put your money in, and then you would have to still plan for the inheritance and so on. So this is a pretty broad spectrum on how the crypto assets are configured. So to recap, when the users have their own keys, they manage it, self-custody, the risk is high. You have total flexibility. Here comes the risk. Custodian accounts is in the medium, right? You have less risk, but less control. Custody, totally secure. Hopefully, they use the custodians go to extra lengths in protecting the keys, so you lose control on that. The estate planning challenges for cryptos. I'll just give a little bit of a spin from the technology point of view, James, and then you can take it from there. So the number one challenge for that is just like online accounts, right? Now, the crypto key is a very special key. That is a key to your wallet. Whoever has it can empty the account, take the money. So there is no trace of it, and it is very difficult to stop or take money back. So there lies the challenge, right? Once you have your own keys, now do you give it to your family now with the risk of trusting them and they don't empty your wallet versus keeping it safe while you're alive and something happens to you, now they don't have it. That is the challenge people deal with. And some people write them down on, actually there was a case in Nevada where the traffic cops found out a crypto key on an accident. That guy is in wallet. Then now that becomes a public property, public information, I would say. So that's a big challenge. People go to several extents in writing them down. This highly technical solution, write them on a piece of paper, put it in a locker. That's a better solution. You don't want to leave it in your desk somewhere. Someone finds it. So there are several challenges in dealing with it. Most importantly, how do you transfer those after death is the biggest problem. Now, as a trustees, now you are dealing with the same challenge too, right? You may have your clients who appoint you as a trustee, as a corporate trustee or a fiduciary, and now they cannot take the keys right now until then they would have the same problem with it. So the risk and liability for trustees is high when they're accepting the keys, and if you're an attorney, you're not going to touch the keys as well. And then for trustees, no visibility on assets under management. They don't even know what the assets are at this point. So there is a big challenge between the owners and the trustees, and when it comes to self-custody and so on. So James, I would turn over this to you on to put your spin on what it means for an estate attorney that you are dealing with crypto owners.
Anecdotally, from a practice perspective, I have many clients that have and own cryptocurrency. One that I can account that was a few months ago was a very sophisticated type of fellow. He works in IT. He's an engineer. He owns crypto. He's doing a joint estate plan with his wife. She doesn't have a clue as to what he's done. He's a purist, which means he's going to keep his own keys. He's going to keep his own passwords. He's not trusting anybody. He doesn't want anything to fall into the hands of something like an FTX. So he doesn't want to have that intermediary. He wants the deregulated aspect of it. Well, for anybody who doesn't know his passwords, doesn't know how to use his keys, and he passes away, there could be millions of dollars sitting out there in the ethers of digital land that nobody knows how to access. So when you're evolving an estate plan these days, if you hold these types of assets, and for that matter, you have any of these other types of email accounts, financial accounts, subscriptions of any sort, you need to have a digital plan for all of those items as well. Remember, there's only so many ways to hold and store and preserve something like cryptocurrency. A number of the organizations are fearful to get involved with it because of the potential for money laundering. Some high targeted terrorist groups have used it to move money. And if you remember, the way that we came to understand what Bitcoin is was based on the case that involved something called the Silk Road, where a engineering guy up in San Francisco was kind of using it as a portal to take a piece of action or a profit commission, if you will, off of illicit acts, everything from moving drugs to prostitution to hitmen taking out people. So that is really the colored background that digital assets have, and it's trying to gain a cleaner vision in terms of the financial community, and certainly it's getting there. But then we just had this FTX fallout, and we're back to maybe almost square one in terms of institutions that want to grapple with it. Next slide.
Sudeshna, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Did we lose
Coming back
James?
to that other term there on
me?
risk and liability, that also moves into both the individual who would act as your trustee and even professional trustees or custodian. Again, kind of trying to get insurance for this, something that would cover you, is also difficult because they understand that digital currency could be manipulated
James, can you hear us?
In a legal manner.
I think your internet is going in and out. Can you hear us? Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I can hear you both.
Yeah, can you start over on this slide, James? We didn't hear you.
No, I haven't even started on this slide. So here's
Sorry.
Here's the primary focus, I guess you could say, for this entire discussion is strategy. Without strategy, we're just moving tactical through something, and that gets exhausting because you're just responding rather than having something ready and in place that you can just roll out. So here's a number of things that you want to consider when you're building your strategy to deal with digital assets. Have you done any inventory of your digital assets? Where would you keep that? Would you put it on a spreadsheet? Do you just write it out on a legal pad? You need to inventory your assets in some manner, and you need a tool to do that. Then you want to decide who will manage your assets. If you haven't done that through one of your instruments, which would be a will or a trust, you're going to have to put something else in writing or sign some people up in proxy under the terms of service with any one of these vendors. And as we discussed, you could have several hundred that you're unaware of in terms of subscriptions and portals and social media. Then you want to consider creating a digital estate plan, and that just means having the proper language in your will or trust that gives people clear and precise authority over these types of assets so that they can gain access, they can shut things off on your behalf if that's the ultimate goal. And really what the goal is should be discussed and laid out in your plan. You need some tools that you can use to create a digital estate and an inheritance plan and try and bring all of these things together and consolidate it. What if you had one dashboard where people could come and they could deal with all of this in one consolidated place and not have to try and unravel it over several months, if not years, trying to put it together as to what you have, what to speak of trying to shut it off. And then you want to, as in any plan, you want to review and update your plan regularly. We usually recommend every 3 to 5 years. Again, this is a changing landscape. It'll move very quickly. As we've been discussing, the idea of this RUFADA, the framework for digital assets, has only been around since 2015. Again, here in California, where I reside, we've only had legislation since 2017, so it's only been ongoing for about 6 years. You want to ensure your digital assets are protected and accessible to your loved ones. So that goes back into what we were discussing previously. If you own any type of digital currency, you must do something like this so that your loved ones won't be stuck with an inability to access it, to convert it to fiat if they need the cash. This could take several months if something isn't laid out that makes it streamlined for them. When dealing with your digital assets, any account that you open up, whether you already have it or you're into the future, you have to use strong passwords and two-factor authentication. If you've been getting notices from one of your providers that you need to do the two-factor and you haven't done it and you keep skipping it, you may want to go back there and make sure you've done that. Next up is to store your passwords in a secure location. That includes keys. If you're a key holder for your own cryptocurrency, where do you keep it? Well, when I've discussed this with clients, many have told me that they're keeping some at home and maybe in a home safe, and the secondary place was to keep keys and passwords inside of a safe deposit box at the bank. Again, that safe deposit box would be under the title of their living trust, so their successor trustee can access it.
Can you hear me? The slides aren't showing right now.
Can you still see the screen, Sudeshna, or is it?
No. Yes, now it's fine.
Right. Yeah. So coming back into our final point, communicate your wishes to loved ones. How do you do that? Well, it could be verbal, or it can be communicated into a cryptocurrency beneficiary trust, which is a standalone trust for cryptocurrency, or a digital will. And then there's a number of places where this type of language that authenticates the individual and gives them the legal authority in powers of attorney, because things don't just end when we end. Sometimes things are difficult when we lose our mental clarity, and that happens to people every day. My biggest poster boy lately when I'm discussing this situation is Bruce Willis. Here's an actor that nobody thought would have such a terrible time with dementia at such a young age. He's only about 67, 68 years old, and completely lost in terms of being in his own mind due to dementia. And oftentimes it doesn't knock at the door, it has no signs, and it just hits a person. We can move to the next slide, please. Here are the recommendations. Again, the way I found Shri was I was looking for something for clients. Too long was I plagued with situations where people didn't have a solution for this, but also I had one particular instance where a son was trying to sell mom's home. Son lived in another state. Clearly, when we went into title, we could see mom had placed her home into her living trust, but unfortunately, nobody could locate a copy of the trust. We couldn't find the original. We couldn't find a digital. I asked son, did she have some kind of a binder in her belongings anywhere? He said, we've already moved all her belongings out of the home. We're just trying to sell it now. So there was no existence of the hard copy. So what we're advocating in this day and age is why not take advantage of technology? The future is now, to where we can digitize these legal documents and store them in a secure, consolidated place. And to that end, my preference for my clientele is Clocker, which stands for Cloud Locker. And when my clients are of the persuasion of doing digital currency, I recommend that they take a hard and serious look at crypto legacy. I think Shri could speak a little bit more as to the security, the technology, the driver behind these two powerful mechanisms that are available to people in this day and age.
Yep. Thanks, James. Again, we wanted to kind of touch on the topic and expose the challenges in this. Not necessarily a product pitch. We will have our hands-on demos and product discussions as a follow-up to this conversation, but we wanted to give a kind of a more neutral perspective on what other tools exist in this. And you can actually, I strongly recommend you look at everything that is available at your disposal, compare and contrast, see who does what, so that you know the landscape well enough into that. All right. So just to give you a quick view on what Clocker does and what Crypto Legacy does, Clocker is more on the sentimental value service line, where you create your online directives for your digital assets, the online accounts, social media accounts, and so on, and also create several use several services. You can preserve your family legacy, pass it on to the future generations. So you can record your stories, wishes, and so on. That is all the family bundle. The crypto legacy banner specifically deals with the crypto assets, safekeeping of your self-custody wallets. We have a partner with LockBlock that we join hands in building a super secure MPC-based vault, multi-party compute vault that is hacker and quantum resistant, and that is in the pilot phases now. We have several of you are interested in doing a demos and so on. So we are now getting ready to go to market in the next few weeks, and currently we are onboarding trustees and a few handful of individuals self-custody to pilot the system. In a nutshell, what we are offering is a very comprehensive end-to-end crypto asset estate planning, one for safeguarding your crypto keys, set up your inheritance plan, create your digital directives like crypto beneficiary trust and so on, end to end, and we are the only ones doing that. So we're super excited to bring that to the market in the next coming weeks. I think that's the end of the kind of presentation. I want to do a quick video on crypto legacy to see if that.
I'd like to jump in with one more comment, if I might.
Yeah, sure, please, James, go ahead. Yeah, while I pull this up.
As it relates to Clocker, again, the cloud locker in the cloud ecosystem, many of my clients are not only using it for all their personal stuff, but they're using it for their business documents. Picture this: you have somebody that has a business in California, yet they're filed in the state of Delaware, and they have a Delaware agent for service of process. They also have a CPA who quarterbacks all their tax preparation, deductions, etc. How do all of these three people interact in one portal system, keeping it all organized where they can get in there and they can grab the documents when they need them, and stay on the same playing field so there isn't a fumble? Well, my clients are beginning to use Clocker so that all three of those parties can get in there and interact with one another in one secure, consolidated place. That's the last of my 2 cents.
Thanks, James. Yes. Sri, are you sharing the video?
Yeah, I'm going to try the video again. As I mentioned, we partner with the LockBlock for delivering the cryptographic secrets vault, and this is the intro video that we are presenting here. Hopefully, it comes alive. Hope that played out okay this time. We had challenges last time playing video. I think to wrap it up, I think we want to open this up for questions, James.
Certainly.
Yeah, Sudeshna, anyone? Yeah, maybe you have any polls that you want to ask, or
Yes. Yeah. I'll just start one poll, guys. I would like to request all the attendees to just have their votes on. Yeah, here's the poll. Okay, so the results are like 62% people replied as yes, I learned something new, and 25% was like kind of new, and 12% were like I already knew this information. Guys, I have a request. I have one more poll to run. I think this would help us to improve in our further webinars. So I would really request you all to just participate in the last poll question, please. So this so this poll question asks that, was this webinar helpful enough for you to guide your clients?
Right.
So the result says like 56% said yes and 42% said to some extent.
Excellent. Any questions? Sushma, want to gather any questions from audience?
Yes, guys, you can use the Q&A section to have your questions. And if in any case you want to ask any doubt, then please post it on the Q&A group. I'll give you the permission to speak.
Yeah, I think we should open up the mic for everyone.
I'll do that. Yes.
All right, let's give. All right, then no questions, then we'll probably wrap it up, give 10 minutes back.
So before we end this webinar, we would love to invite you all to the live demo of Crypto Legacy, so you can understand how it can benefit you and your clients regarding the estate planning and digital assets. So I'll just share the link of the live demo sign up in the Q&A section. So the schedule of this demo is on 26th of April, Wednesday, 11 a.m. CST. Here is the link. Yes. So it's a Zoho link. I have shared it on the Q&A section. After the webinar ends, you will be redirected to the sign up page for the live demo. In case you missed that, we will also be sending you the live session, the demo session link via your email. Lastly, I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and I would like to thank James and Shri once again for answering, for actually discussing this crucial topic, and as well as for the great presentation and learning session. It was a pleasure to have you, James, Shri.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
I
all.
appreciate the opportunity to
good one.
discuss and create dialogue on this.
Thank you all. Bye.
I know.
Thank you. Have a good day.